Josh, how you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Good.
Talk us through your how's life's all working for you at the moment, mate? Are you one of the lucky ones? Are you able to? Can you do 2 people ruck training? Is that something you're allowed to do?
We've done a little bit, yeah. I can do 2-man. I've done a couple of sessions with the ruck coach, Doc Clark, one-on-one, and been doing a lot of training one-on-one with a few guys. But training rides have been really good. I've been got the home gym set up, so I've been smashing that and getting a lot of the running and that work done. And I'm really enjoying the break so far. I've just been doing things that I wouldn't normally do and getting lots and lots of training done. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Your biomedicine studies, are they still going ahead, or have they been put on hold too?
No, it was actually handy because I took on 3 subjects this semester, so nearly a full load. So I would have struggled, I reckon, if the season was going ahead. I would have been inundated with study, but at the moment got a bit of time to do that and chipping away at that, and actually got an assignment due tomorrow I probably should get started on.
Biomedicine, I don't suppose that can help lead to what is biomedicine? Can that help lead us to a cure? Can you solve COVID-19 in your spare time?
That's I'm doing medical science. So that's sort of the precursor to that, to doing medical research and working in public health. And the other thing I want to do is just go into medicine. So I'm planning on studying medicine after footy. So who knows? I might not make it that far. I might go into research and look into things like this.
How does this work normally? Do I get a bunch of questions or?
Just go for as long as you want.
Just go for as long as you want, mate.
We'll just watch.
Rob, can you talk us through the Zoom call that you had with Tyson? Obviously a difficult couple of weeks for him. Was that quite a difficult thing to go through as a group?
Yeah, it's obviously really disappointing when something like that happens for the individual and for the group. But yeah, we had a really honest conversation with the group, and Tyson obviously apologised and wants to really make it up. He's obviously made a big mistake, and the call was, and we talked a lot about the danger you put others in when you make a decision like that. It was a pretty heavy call, but it was really, really good. And now that we've sort of dealt with that and he's copped his whack, we're just going to throw our arms around him and support him from now.
Is that something that you put a big focus on? Because everyone deals with isolation quite differently, I suppose. If you put a big focus on trying to keep in touch with everyone and make sure everyone's mental health is as strong as it can be? Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just that sense of connection, I think, because we're obviously not together. We've got lots of little WhatsApp groups that we're in, so working in those and checking in with each other weekly and checking in with the coaches and high performance stuff. And making sure we're doing lots of things like weekly cooking classes and quiz nights and that sort of thing to try and sort of stay connected, because you can sort of drift away and you can feel sort of isolated doing all the training and stuff by yourself. So we're regularly checking in with each other, and that's really important just to keep the group connected and keep a bit of purpose within our training and within our break. I've never asked so many questions in a presser before. How do you feel Eddie's departure may have affected some of the younger Indigenous boys? Obviously, it's such a pivotal part for them in the guidance. Do you think that's played a role at all in making life a bit tougher for some of those kids post his departure? Well, it's hard to speculate, but he was awesome as a sort of mentor figure for them. For a lot of the Indigenous guys, they sort of were really tight. They still are a really tight-knit group, and Eddie was great, not just with them, but with everyone at the club. And yeah, obviously him leaving leaves a little bit of hole in that area, but I think there's still a lot of support at the club through the staff and through all the players. We all look out for each other. Hopefully I think that was just a silly mistake, and hopefully, we'll learn from that and be better for it. Anyone else?
I'll go with a couple of. I won't go as many. Joshy smashed them all, so well done, Joshy. Rob, I was just going to say there's an article that's gone up today about the MCG potentially being a hub for football. What are your initial thoughts about that idea, do you think?
Yeah, there's been a little bit of talk about the hubs. I think it's probably wise for the clubs to look at every possibility to get footy back up and going, because obviously the public want footy back in their life, and the fans really want football, and we really want to play football. So I think any idea that's going to work within the sort of state and federal government guidelines, I think any idea is a good idea, and I think that if they're exploring that, I'm sort of open to anything. As I think all the players really want to play and all the fans really want to see footy. So I think any idea isn't a bad idea at this stage.
MCG wouldn't be an unfair advantage, given some teams have it as their home ground, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it could be for sure. And if we were away living in Melbourne, say, I think that could potentially be a disadvantage in terms of teams that play there on that ground. They obviously have some level of advantage, but that's probably going to have to happen if the season's going to go ahead. There's going to be concessions made by different teams. So hopefully they can work that out and make it as fair as possible. But it obviously won't be perfect when it gets back because of these restrictions.
And just last one from me, for now anyway, potential and also talk that you may have to be tested twice a week if and when football returns. Are you comfortable with that?
I think, yeah, I would be personally. I'd feel good getting tested and knowing my health's sake is good. So I think that's probably a sensible thing to do in terms of keeping the competition going. So I think the AFL obviously want to keep the competition going once it gets started. So doing that's pretty sensible as long as it doesn't take away from resources from the community and that sort of thing. I think I'm all for that.
Mate, thanks, Rob.
Easy.
Hey, Rob, it's Theo. How you going?
Good, mate. How are you?
Getting there, thank you. You just touched on the MCG and whether it would be fair. How come it's okay to play there and not have Adelaide and Port Adelaide based at the Adelaide Oval?
Well, yeah, I'd be all for us being based at the Adelaide Oval, especially interstate teams obviously do a lot more travel than MCG-based teams. Like they end up playing, 17 games a year at the MCG sometimes. So I think it would probably be fair to go the other way, but we'll wait and see. It's obviously an AFL decision and we'll have to work with the logistics of everything going on. But I'd be all for an Adelaide Oval hub. I think that'd be good. But, I mean, that's the AFL's decision and there's obviously other bigger factors at play in terms of making that decision.
Do you think that you or any of the players have a little bit of apprehension about going to a state which has been considerably more at risk than, say, South Australia or Tasmania? Is any danger to your own personal health?
Yeah, I've sort of discussed that. I'm personally comfortable with some guys. I guess if we're going from South Australia, which has obviously got a really good record in terms of this COVID outbreak, and then going to a Melbourne or something that has a higher rate of cases and that sort of thing, it sort of doesn't make sense on that level. But I mean, as I said earlier, I think we have to be open to anything to be able to play. And if they're going to be able to provide facilities to test us and keep us really healthy and keep us insulated, I think that's fine in terms of if they're able to provide us those guarantees. And I'll be open to anything. But yeah, obviously prefer to play in Adelaide. That'd be great. Play Adelaide Oval, but we'll have to wait and see. And that's up to the AFL. And there's obviously there's bigger things at play that are sort of deciding that for them.
You touched on earlier Josh's question when doing a bit of ruck work with Doc Clark. I mean, when it's one-on-one, would you just sort of posting up against a pine tree in the backyard? Can you talk us through exactly what you're doing to enhance your craft?
We just do a little bit of, he sort of throws it up and just do a bit of bodywork technique stuff, and then just some jumping and that sort of thing, as well as some marking centre bounce ruck work, and then just doing some basic bodywork where he throws it up and does some stuff. So obviously not perfect in terms of being in a two, but it's still able to get that continuity going and keep that in your head. And especially centre bounce jumping and aerial jumping, that's something you can keep doing at a pretty high level. So I feel like I'm getting a lot out of the training at the moment, and yeah, feeling really good.
Have you had to be careful? I mean, you're the only really recognised ruckman. If you go down, it's probably pretty grim times in the big man stakes. You had to be careful during the time off? Careful
in terms of my training or in terms of...
Yeah, just in terms of your general approach. I mean, training is one thing, your general health. I mean, a lot of the talk pre-season was if you are out of action, Adelaide would struggle in the ruck department. Did you take that on board during the break?
I do. I'm pretty diligent in terms of looking after myself, because I think I've missed a bit of footy with the shoulder and that sort of thing. I'm desperate not to sort of miss any more footy. So I'm always pretty conservative with looking after myself and not putting myself in harm's way and looking after my body. So yeah, doing a lot of work in that space and obviously plenty of time to do it. So I'm finding myself getting bored at home and just getting out the back and doing some core or some injury prevention or doing some, loading on my knees and that sort of thing. So I'm all over it at the moment and feeling really good.
You're still living with Bull?
Yeah, actually, he's just at the window peering in, just showing his head, having a look around the corner. He's in the backyard, just tanning at the moment. He's getting a bit of sun. That's one of his favourite things. His shirt off.
How's staying at home treating you two together? Be a bit like an asylum in there, wouldn't it?
It's been all right, actually. I've been between my house and my partner's. I've been in my partner's beach house a couple of nights here and there. So, but mainly here with him. It's been really good, actually. We actually enjoy each other's company. We have a couple of nights off a week, but been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. I've been doing a few jobs around the house, and he hasn't been much help in that though. So I'll have to get him on the tools.
Righto, you got your work cut out. Thank you, mate.
No worries. Easy.
G'day, Reilly. Jake from ESPN here. These guys have covered off most things, but one thing I was kind of interested in is you mentioned before about the cooking classes and quizzes that have sort of been going on in this time. Can you just explain a little bit about that and I guess what you've been cooking?
What have I been cooking? Well, actually, each player sort of had a recipe each week. Tex, we was doing dinner, and Tex had an omelette one week for some. I'm not sure what he normally has for dinner, but omelettes. And then I think Sloaney's cooking tonight. He's cooking what is he cooking? It looked good though. I think it was like crusted salmon or something. But he's and then there's been a few other things, and the nutritionist has had a couple of classes as well. So it's been good to have those sort of things. We've got a quiz night tonight or tomorrow as well. Just little things to sort of, and we've had a lot of banter and a lot of stuff on the WhatsApp groups and keeping in touch with each other. So, and we also started a book club, believe it or not, at the club with Dan Jackson coming in as the leadership sort of head of leadership and culture. He's been awesome. And for the more academically minded guys, we've started a book club for about 4 or 5 of us, and hopefully that grows. But that's another thing that's ticking over. Another little thing.
How important is it to have all this sort of stuff now, where everyone's like home and bored, and you can keep in touch with your teammates in the club?
Yeah, I think it's really important just to stay connected and stay in touch with each other. Also, we just sort of drift apart and come back and sort of have to do that gelling all over again. So it's just important to keep on top of that. And then also for blokes in terms of their morale and enjoying themselves, filling the time with things like this to look forward to. Personally, I've got quite a bit on my plate at the moment, but it's good to have these things on the go as well. Just to see the boys' faces, because a lot of the guys obviously miss being at the club around all your mates all day. It's obviously a very big change from that, being at home and not being able to leave much and doing that. So a lot of guys are missing that. So it's sort of the closest thing we've done to sort of bring the group together and hang out with the boys again. So it's something a lot of guys are missing.
And just circling back to Tyson, some people are saying that it might have been a bit of a soft penalty. Are you kind of comfortable where it sits?
No, I'm pretty comfortable with how it sits. I think guys in the past have copped very similar penalties, and it looked pretty similar to what Lockie Hunter copped as well. So I think it's a pretty fair penalty. It's a pretty substantial whack to cop those 4 games, and I think it's there. And obviously, he needs to cop that whack to sort of learn. But now that it's sort of done, he can sort of work back to getting the trust of the group back, and we're going to throw our arms around him and really help him through. And he's a great kid. He's going to be a great player for us. And we just got to really support him now. And he's copped his whack, and we'll move on.
And just the last one from me. You must be enjoying not having to get on a plane every second week. Have you felt any better? Like, do you have more energy? I mean, I know you're not playing, but you know it can be quite taxing getting on a plane so consistently.
Yeah, it's hard to say because obviously that comes with the game. So not playing every week, probably don't have that cycle of the week where you 2 days up, the first 2 days after a game, you sort of you're pretty pooped and you're in a lethargic patch, and then your energy spikes by the end of the week. So it's sort of just more, I guess, in that off-season mode where you're pretty level throughout the week and feeling pretty good. But it's hard to say if the travel would play a role in that. But to be honest, without playing, it's obviously a lot less stress and pretty relaxing, and doing a few jobs and that sort of thing around the house. I'm sort of making the most of it and doing things I wouldn't normally do and getting on top of a lot of other things. And I would say it's a really good opportunity to to do things I wouldn't normally do and work on myself and then come back bigger and better. And looking forward to the season starting.
Cool. Thank you.
Easy.
Hear me?
Yep.
Mate, have you filled out your survey about the quarantine hub? Did you get one yesterday?
I haven't got that yet. Survey. No, I haven't got that at this stage. So I think, is that from the AFLPA or?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've received that just yet. Or if we have, I've obviously haven't checked my emails, but I don't think we've received that yet. So I'm assuming we'll get that in the next few days. But yeah, I haven't filled that in yet.
Okay, and you sort of touched on it earlier, but obviously you're happy to be involved in quarantine hubs?
Yeah, I'm happy to do whatever it takes to sort of play. Obviously, I'd rather be playing like a normal no quarantine hubs and travelling, that sort of thing. But obviously with these extraordinary circumstances, we won't necessarily have that choice. So I'm happy to do whatever it takes to get footy back on TV screens and get us all playing again and get the industry going.
Thanks, mate.
Easy.
Any other questions, guys? Are we all good? Hey, Reilly, can I just ask one more about Tyson without harping on about it, mate?
Yeah, easy.
Just, you touched on, like, you wrapped your arms around him. Could you just outline maybe a few of the things that you'd like to see from him so he does get the respect back of his teammates? Obviously, that's a pretty important component. What would you like to see from him?
Well, first and foremost, probably just coming back when we get back to training in really good shape and really attacking training. And probably the only way you can sort of make it up is by obviously being on good behaviour from now on, but then also coming back and playing a really important role for the team this year because he's got that potential and he's shown a lot over the pre-season. So I can't wait to see him come back, hopefully with extra drive and extra want to really make it up for the group and set training standards, come back in really good shape, and then play really good footy for us because I know he can do that.
Thanks, mate. And who are the ones to team up with and the ones to avoid in the quiz night, please?
Sorry, yeah. Jake's just unplugged the Wi-Fi. There we go. We're back on. Sorry about that.
Rob, who do you want in the quiz night and who are you desperate to avoid?
Oh, God. There's not many blokes I want, really. There's a lot of blokes to avoid. Probably avoid Walker and you to avoid Seedsman, those sort of blokes. Crouch boys, I don't think would be that much help either. But who would I want? That's a tough question. Who would I want? There's a few smarter cookies like probably Jake. I probably have Jake on my team. Tom Duday. The list doesn't go on much further than that.